Welcome back. I'm joined by Mark Arnoldy, who is an alum from the University of Colorado at Boulder. And Mark, CGI U is kind of an old hat for you. Tell us about your experience with CGI in years past.
Sure. My first CGI U was in Austin, Texas in 2009. And I have to admit, I came in a bit naive about the CGI U experience. And that was the singular moment that really kind of redefined, my college career and up to the point of what I'm doing now, because I had put together a commitment to action, and it turns out that it was recognized there on stage with President Clinton at CGI U in 2009, and as a result, the work I was doing in Nepal really all of a sudden was given an extra stamp of credibility, I guess you could say, and it really did kind of move us very quickly from idea to action. So
tell us about your commitment a little bit.
My commitment, the name is NepalNUTrition, and I have a very ironic story, I guess you could say. I'm actually allergic to nuts,
right?
And on my first trip to Nepal, I had a near-death experience, and as a result, I really had a glimpse of insight, I guess, into what it felt like to be in Nepal and denied access to life-saving care. It was a very strange day. The whole city was shut down by a strike, so it was one of the only situations where I, as a foreigner, could actually kind of get a glimpse of what that might feel like. So I had an allergic reaction, had this near-death experience, and very soon after I found out about this product. It's called a ready-to-use therapeutic food. It's basically a fortified peanut butter.
Right.
And it turns out it's the world's best treatment for malnourished children. And so I really went in with the research mindset. I was a student at the time. I said, I'm going to go to Nepal. I'm going to return to Nepal, I guess you could say, and study what's going on with this. And the further I dug into that, the quicker I found out that there wasn't anything being done at all. And so when I put together the proposal for CGI U 2009, it was still a little bit researchy, I guess you could say. It was focused on understanding the problem, which is of course important. And then after CGI U 2009, I met people at CGI U, and the publicity and everything else really brought a lot of people and interest to the work. And so soon after that, I was able to return to Nepal. I took a year off from school, and we built an organization that's now really playing a central role in delivering this treatment for malnourished children in Nepal.
And how does it work on the ground?
Yeah. I think one of the unique things we did, one of the things that I do take some pride in, is we actually didn't start a brand new organization per se. And this was actually advice given by Cheryl Dorsey at CGI U 2009. She's the president of Echoing Green. She said, she advised us that the best way to create change isn't necessarily to create your own organization. So while it appears we have our own organization, it's actually a project of an existing organization. We partnered with an established Nepali organization run by an Ashoka Fellow, a really successful, proven, credible social entrepreneur. So if you look at what we're doing in Nepal now, we kind of have 4 areas of our work. One is direct treatment. So working with this organization, Himalayan Healthcare, we're treating children in the villages where they work. The other piece is local production. So working with the private sector to try to produce this ready-to-use therapeutic food locally within Nepal. And you do that to drive down the cost. The third piece would be policy. And I'm actually currently a Fulbright scholar in Nepal working with UNICEF, the government of Nepal, and a few other INGOs to try to scale up this treatment program that uses this product. And the fourth piece is financing. And so as a result of this commitment, a few, innovative businesses in the U.S. have spawned. One of those is similar to like the Tom Shoes model for peanut butter. When you buy a jar of this peanut butter in the U.S., it funds the purchase of one of these packs of life-saving peanut butter for a malnourished child in Nepal. And the other is an apparel company that a high school friend started after seeing a post about CGI U 2009 and the recognition from President Clinton. He started an apparel company. He contacted me after not being in touch for about 3 years.
Okay.
And so we built this apparel company together called 5 Pound Apparel.
And I know you have an example of it.
Yeah. We have, here's an example of the shirt they put together. And the whole concept of 5 Pound Apparel is for every shirt they sell, 5 pounds of peanut butter is donated to our program, and it's used in direct treatment of severe malnutrition in children in Nepal.
And how can people find this t-shirt or find the Tom Shoe model of peanut butter?
Yeah, just on the web.
Okay.
either on Facebook. So on Facebook, you can search 5 Pound Apparel. And the peanut butter company, the name is Nutrients. That's
Okay.
NUT-RIENTS.com.
All right.
And there's a website for each too, 5poundapparel.com and nutrients.com.
Okay.
But we'd really appreciate support. I mean, this is an innovative finance stream, I guess. This is a way to not be fully donor dependent, because we don't ask for payment at point of care. I mean, we're dealing with
Right.
some of the most vulnerable patients, the most vulnerable populations in general in the world. That's who we're treating. So they aren't providing payment at point of care. So we have to come up with innovative ways to provide this treatment.
Absolutely. So one of the most unique aspects of CGI, I think, is the ability to kind of build a reservoir of knowledge and sort of share lessons learned and best practices with other folks that might be just starting out. As you mentioned, some of the best advice you got was not to reinvent the wheel, to really start where things had already been working. So curious to know what your advice would be for someone who wants to work on the huge problem of undernutrition, maybe in another part of the world. Is there any sort of key learning that you've taken from your experience that you could share?
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, I'd say do your environmental scan. I mean, do your market research, so to speak. I mean, really exhaust your Google searches and make contacts within that country to find out what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of unnecessary duplication from the very beginning, and there's a lot of wasted time. So I think, really do that. Figure out what's going on.
Right.
And then, I mean, I would strongly advocate taking a partnership approach. For example, as a student, I had the privilege and luxury of being able to take a year off. Had that not been the case, I would have been fully reliant on a partner organization within Nepal. And it was the case that I had to go back to school for a year after working in Nepal. So I took a year off, and then I had to go back to finish up my senior year. And if I had been trying to run the show, so to speak, from the U.S., it would have never worked.
Right.
So I think that partnership is absolutely essential. And it provides, it's a perfect match of strengths and weaknesses, I guess, because it's very hard as such a young person to go to literally the other side of the world, almost the exact opposite side of the world frequently. It costs a lot of money. The cultural differences are immense, and it's just difficult to be there for long lengths of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can be of service in generating resources, in injecting, I guess, capital and technical expertise into projects. I have the ease with which I can do that in this country. So it's a perfect match to kind of match the on-the-ground work with that kind of injection of capital and technical expertise. So I think the partnership is essential.
That's great. Well, we're so glad that you're here. You have probably the best tie I've ever seen. I love it. And I hear it's from Nepal.
Yeah, this is also from Nepal. It's traditional Dhaka weave. It's a really good
Beautiful.
income generating work for women in Nepal.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.